From the normal to the abnormal to the paranormal, all things are possible as we explore the mysteries of space, life, death, and engage in the never-ending quest to find out the truth of what's out there and why. I'm George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh, and you're listening to the George Senda Show on Paranormal Chat. Allow me, good listeners and seekers of truth, to be your guide tonight as we delve into the shadows and seek out the light in the sea of darkness.
That is right, everyone. You are listening to the inaugural episode of the George Senda Show. Feel free to give us a call at 317-708-4500. That is a toll call anywhere in the United States, and we'll even accept long distance as long as you'll foot the bill on it. You can also reach us on Skype for free by searching for live show, all one word, space 99. Now join George Senda as he goes through a journey of self-discovery, YouTube, paranormal, and all the topics in the news. George, hit it.
How you doing? This is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh. Well, I really don't know what we're going to talk about. I do have one thing I looked at today. There's a guy in England who wound up in Poland. Now, you know, I didn't know there were Polish UFO researchers. His name is Max Spears, and he died under mysterious circumstances. And I looked at the conference that he was supposed to attend, and every name on there I never heard of. And I'm pretty cognizant of the people in the UFO field. Really strange story that he supposedly escaped from a British super soldier program. I guess they were going to have Captain Britain, and wound up coughing something like black bile twice before he died. And the Polish authorities said he died a natural death. They shipped him back to England, and the autopsy people there couldn't determine the cause of death. And his computer was wiped. He said he was going to reveal more stuff that he could on Facebook. His mother says he was murdered. Sounds similar to George Reeves and his mother, TV Superman. So that's one of the strange stories of the day. Then there's the video I did about John Kerry. Why would John Kerry, Buzz Aldrin, and the patriarch of the Russian Orthodox Church all go to Antarctica at the same time, and then Barack Obama goes simultaneously to Argentina and wants restrictions on tourism to Antarctica? I don't know this big. I've looked on what is it, Expedia, and the thing with William Shatner and all these travel. I haven't seen Antarctica listed once in places I want to go. I don't get any hotel bargains for Antarctica either. So I don't get it. But he was supposedly down there for global warming to discover the effects of global warming in Antarctica. Rush Limbaugh keeps saying there's more ice being formed down there on glaciers. I know a cruise ship sank down there. And Buzz Aldrin climbs a 9,000-foot mountain, goes into respiratory distress, and they rush him to a hospital in New Zealand. But there was two stories out there in the British Sun and the Daily Mirror claim that Kerry went down there to look at Nazi UFO bases. So that's a weird story. Other than that, I haven't been doing much of anything. So if you want to call in and discuss the paranormal, what you want to talk about.
All right. Thank you for listening tonight. That's the end of our show. Thank you for joining us. No, they're very interesting stories. So John Kerry, are you saying that he He went to Antarctica, but they didn't really give an explanation as to why
No,
he
he
went.
was there to look at the effects of global warming in Antarctica.
Do you think this is
Now, here's the
anything?
biggest ice sheet probably in the world. But why would the Secretary of State go down there in the last month in office? Why would Obama suddenly go to Argentina unless he wants either Argentine beef or hot Argentine women, because they're very beautiful down there? But that's a strange place to go in your last month for either of them. Why would Buzz Aldrin decide to climb a mountain? And then I saw a picture of him on one of those two sites. The man looks like an 86-year-old bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he can't breathe. He climbs a 9,000 foot mountain, and that's another thing. There's a pyramid down there that supposedly is not a pyramid. One site say it's just a mountain, and then this what is it, Team 10 or something? They keep posting all these UFO videos that are always grainy or blurry, out of focus. They said they found a saucer in a cave. I looked at that picture, and the cave overlapping half the saucer looks like it's got a line drawn down the middle of it. It's one of those things. How come every UFO picture practically is blurry? They never appear in front of an aircraft that someone with their iPhone or iPad takes a picture out the window. So I'm always puzzled by that, unless the electromagnetic effects blur your camera or something. But John Kerry's going out of office. Let's assume for a moment he thought Hillary was going to win, that he would have stayed Secretary of State. But why would you go to Antarctica in December?
That's a good question.
And he flew down there in the military.
George, we've got our first caller. If you want we've got our first caller on the line. Caller, are you there?
Yeah.
Who's speaking?
Hey, this is Dan.
Hey, Dan. George, have anything, or do you have anything for George?
Yeah. George, I'm living in a trailer, and I believe it to be haunted. And I've had many people come over here, and I've had girls come over, and from the trailer park, and there's weird noises coming out of my bathroom, and I just don't know what to do. Is there anything you can help me? Is there something I can do to try to get rid of them?
Well, there are certainly paranormal sites that will give you advice. You might talk to a priest.
No! I can't have no priest.
Tell us more.
Well, they're the ones
why can't you have a priest there? What would be the backstory to that?
Well, I'm kind of sexually active, and I really can't have a priest come in here. I'm into some kinky stuff. So,
well, then you need to put the kinky stuff away if you want to stop getting haunted. Unless you want to have the girls freaked out every time they come over. If you've got, now, you haven't said whether this ghost is malevolent, friendly, or just noisy. Maybe the ghost doesn't like all the noise when you're having sex. I don't know.
Well, I know several people have died here in this trailer over the years.
Then you definitely have a problem, and you need to find a paranormal expert and have them see if they can come in. But you can't have anything. I can't have you come in because I've got whips and chains in here or something like that. If you want to get rid of this thing, you've got to bring in an expert.
Different size dildos, and
well, we don't need to hear about your paraphernalia, sir. I'm not interested in that, and that's really not germane to the call. If you're haunted and you're worried about it, the only way you're going to get rid of this is find an expert or get some help.
Well, the owner of the trailer park told me that if I had a lot of sex here, that the ghost would leave because I'm having so much sex and it's good times, and they don't like that.
In my experience, I've never heard that. So, and I've done a lot of reading on this sort of stuff. So, you might have an incubus or a succubus in there. Who knows? I think we should move on with this call because I've already given him what I think.
Yeah.
Let's take another call, please.
Yeah, that works. Yeah. Thanks
Okay.
for giving us a
Jason
call.
Callan, Legion's Rule.
Yeah. So
I knew that.
We have to wonder if maybe there were some phantom limbs or phantom pain problems happening there at his house. Maybe that was with the paranormal.
Phantom problems between the ears.
That might be true too. So, do you think the John Kerry, where he was going off to do in whatever real conversation, would be connected to anything similar to like Eisenhower and the stories around him and his communication with aliens?
I found a site that said this whole story was fake news, and frankly, at this point, I start to wonder if the weather is fake news, considering Oroville. So, but I couldn't find the link when I was looking for it today.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned
it. It could be, but of course, you realize Obama was not pro-UFO. But these are Nazi UFOs. They're not just gray UFOs. They're not secret Nazi UFO base. And that's what was driving up that link. It had stuff about Admiral Byrd and the fleet in, 47 or 49 or 59 went to an entirely different area than where the supposed Nazi UFO base was. They gave about 4 different reasons why all this stuff was bunk, but I couldn't find the link. This is why I don't believe in disclosure unless a UFO lands on top of the president or something. We're never going to get disclosure because the CIA is not going to tell us anything anyway. We already had a rogue head of the CIA try to sabotage Trump, and that's not my politics talking. He was trying to blame the election results on the Russians. The head of the FBI came out the other day and said, we have no evidence the Russians hacked the election. And yet, if they hacked the electoral vote, then how come they didn't hack the popular vote?
Right. We got another call here. Let's go ahead and see. We've got a call.
Let me say something before. If you're a Jason Callan troll, don't call in because I'm not going to allow that to go on too much longer. All right. Thank you.
Oh, what's our... Sounds like we have a ghost or an alien calling in. Caller, you might want to restart your device and give us a call again. I don't know what happened there.
Let's get rid of that one, too. I think we're going to get a slew of these until they stop screwing around.
Yeah, I think that was a haunted phone.
That's what it sounded like.
Or a Dalek, as someone in the chat room stated.
It could have been.
Yeah, that's another thing. I don't want anybody to say that I'm in the chat room saying bad things about anybody. I'm in front of my Mac and my iPad holding onto a bottle of water and sitting in my computer chair. So I am not in chat.
Right. No, I can.
So I don't want to hear weeks to come that I'm in your chat. I don't even know where your chat room is or how to access it.
Right. And
or your site. And look.
Yeah.
It's paranormalchat.com.
Right. Here.
That's not it. I haven't looked how to get in there. So I literally could not get in there because I haven't done it.
No, I can confirm that you were not in there. So I agree. So here we've got another person. Let's see if their phone line is going to work. Make sure it's on our end. Caller, you're on the air.
George, first time, long time. How bad did Kathy's pussy really smell? I'll take my answer off the air.
Goodbye.
Yes. Okay, so that's not really paranormal talk. Or even current news. I don't think we're really looking to get into anyone's
I didn't even hear it. All I heard is how bad something smells, and I'll take my answer off the air. Well, your call stinks.
Yeah, I think it was fake news.
I don't know. It's more like dead Fox News or something. But
Fox, F-A-U-X.
I don't know what we're going to do about this because I think a lot of these people are coming from either Callan or Belgab, and they don't want to allow me to have a regular show like anybody else who's treated with respect.
Yeah, I would prefer if we call it Sewergab. I like that because you coined that phrase, correct?
Yeah, the boiling pitch of sewage with the apologies to JC.
Yes, exactly. So,
Mr. Callan, how dare you have your legion of liars call this show?
Nice.
Speaking of JC, George, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Curtis and I used to host a show called The Bell Files, which we may get back to at some point. And it was a show about Art Bell. And one of the things that we used to enjoy doing when we spoke to callers on the phone was to get their Art Bell origin story, the story where they found, how they found Art Bell, and how they became a fan. So it's probably a good place to sort of ask you, because you are an expert in the paranormal, to find out what your Art Bell origin story was. Where did you find it?
First of all, I got to use the usual phrase, free Art Bell, and I hope Art has recovered from his illness. Back in around 1990, I can't give an exact date, my late friend Charlie Mew in San Francisco, he had this huge, like a Zenith transoceanic radio that could get radio from everywhere on his kitchen table. And we're in there one night, and I'm eating, and he said, "You got to listen to this shit." And I said, "What is it?" "It's some guy named Art Bell." "What is he talking about?" UFOs, monsters, werewolves, vampires. Well, that was right up my alley. So that's how I started listening to Art Bell. Before that, I was listening to Larry King. So he was the big late night kahuna. And then he went to CNN. So, and I was hooked on Art Bell from that moment on.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite topic? What's your favorite paranormal topic?
Well, UFOs.
Where would you say, where do you stand, like, officially on UFOs? Do they exist? And if so, where are they coming from?
Oh, they exist. There's something. When I was in the Civil Air Patrol, when I was about 13 or 14 or 15, I don't remember that far back, we were on a search and air rescue in the Sierra, and 500 of us were looking for a downed plane, both civilians, sheriff's deputies, volunteer people from police departments, and military personnel. We never found the plane, and overhead this huge silver UFO that was the length of 2 or 3 football fields appeared over us, and I and a bunch of other people sent reports to the Air Force and NICAP, and we were told it was Venus. At a time when Venus could not be seen in the western skies. So, and when I was younger, we were first coming to California when I was 12, and my mother and I were sitting in Marin County, and back then Marin was not as built up as it is now. And in an orchard or strawberry field or something, there was a silver, I forget, concave craft on legs, and my mother saw it and I saw it. My dad was driving. My dad never looked at anything. He was crouched, and suddenly the thing shot up in the air and disappeared. So I've seen them twice. I was a friend of Donald Keogh. I was a member of NICAP when I was 10 years old. I used to correspond with him. I used to talk to him and his secretary. I've talked to Stanton Friedman on the phone. So I'm firmly convinced it's something out there. The one thing I cannot figure out is we can find extra biological planets supposedly out in star systems. We can't find the 10th planet, and the government keeps acting as if nobody's, they can't tell us anything. Other countries are revealing their UFO files, but we're still keep everything a secret.
Yeah, we've got another caller on the line here. Caller, state your name and your question or comment.
My name is Lynn, and I was asking about paranormal. I have my dead cat is following me around my house.
Your dead cat? That's got to be very shocking.
And it's really scary, and I don't know how to deal with it.
Okay, I have had 2 of my cats come back. My Snooky cat died of cancer, and he had a habit of biting me on the chin. He came back the weekend of my birthday, and in the middle of the night, the room got deadly cold, and he appeared on my chest and bit me on the chin. And in my bedroom, I'm sitting in my Minnie Mouse, he got run over in front of my building. And for about 2 years, there was meowing in the bedroom on the cat tree when there was no cat in here. You loved your baby. He shouldn't be scaring you. If he was a kitty you loved, he's probably just trying to tell you that he's okay and he's happy where he is, unless he's done something malevolent to you. And I've never heard of, I've only heard of one malevolent ghost kitty story.
Well,
Or read of.
he was adopted and he was abused, and he keeps tearing up my carpet in this one place that he loved to lay.
Okay, you know what you might do on that? If you have a favorite toy or catnip or something like that that he liked to play with, or a favorite piece of clothing or bedding he liked to sleep in, he may be tearing that up as a signal to you that he's here, or he may go, where are my toys? Where is my blanket? Where is my sweater or whatever? My Fuzzy Cat and Little Girl and Fluffy are all on my sofa bed right now. They love sitting in the same spot. And but when they go away, frequently they come back to tell you that they miss you, or something like I've never heard of a cat scratching a carpet, a ghost cat, but he may be trying to signal to you that he wants attention or love, or I would talk to him and say, I miss you, I love you, I think of you, and don't be upset, don't scratch my carpet, I know you're here and I accept that, and if you're going to be here, be happy, kitty, and not upset, kitty. And I don't know what else to say, but
Well, he always loved orange juice.
Orange juice.
Yeah, it looks like we lost the caller there too, but
well, my girlfriend's cat is weird. She drinks milk, tomato juice, soda out of Kathy's glass. We call it mott water. So that's the first cat I've ever heard drink orange juice, though.
Yeah,
I feel for the woman. That's the only things I can think of without looking it up, and I really, it would be a little hard to do right now.
Really
the other
quick,
thing, there are some.
Go
Brad Steiger and other people have ghost cat books. You might look up on the web and see what to do about your kitty coming back. There might be some advice on there.
Yes, I want to remind everybody.
We don't have a Jackson Galaxy, My Cat from Hell show from the paranormal. Maybe we should.
That actually.
We've never had a kitty paranormal show before, or a pet paranormal show that I know of.
Yeah, how
there
about
have been stories.
Jackson Galaxy, My Cat Returned from Hell?
Yeah, I'd like to meet that guy and see if he might go for that, but I don't know if his network would.
Right.
I watch his show all the time.
Yeah, I would remind everybody we're having Paranormal Chat tonight on the George Senda Show. Give us a call at 317-708-4500. We'd love to talk to you about anything paranormal, and we already have dished out some good advice for people who are struggling with different issues. So if you have a good story of good to us, but maybe even not that good to you, feel free to give us a call. We'd love to work through it with you. I apologize, everyone. My sinuses are going crazy with the major weather change here in my central Indiana area. So my voice is cracking some, so I'll kick it back to you, George.
The other thing, for the record, I have taught my Mickey Mouse cat. I got these two cats as little tiny babies. Their stray mama cat brought them into Kathy's apartment. I nursed them back to health with, kitty antibiotics. He died I had to put him to sleep. He had jaw cancer, but I talk to them every day and say I miss them, and I miss all my other kitties too. I've had a lot of kitties since 1977. So they're with me in my heart, and being that I've been pronounced dead twice, I'm convinced that cats and pets live on too. It's not just us.
Yeah,
I think animals have a soul, but that's, people will dispute that.
Yeah, let's get back to the topic of you being pronounced dead several times. But we've got a caller here again, so let's go ahead and take that really quick. Caller, state your name and any questions or comments.
Yeah, this is Frank from Loma Linda. Really liking the show. I just ran across it. I was curious if, George, if you've ever ran across a situation where you had a reoccurring nightmare where you're being suffocated, night
No.
after night you're being suffocated.
No. Is this the same guy with the trailer? It sounds like him. Let's go on to another call.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, say it didn't sound exactly to me, but it's a different phone number. But yeah, no problem.
I had a recurring nightmare after I got robbed at gunpoint where aliens and creatures were shooting at me and killing me. And as a carryover from being a child of the atomic age, I kept having nightmares of nuclear weapons blowing me up. I wound up in Moscow where they dropped the bomb on Moscow. So all those Conrad things and fallout shelters and stuff like that, the 60s. When my dad was working at Fort Belvoir, they called him back to active duty during the Cuban Missile Crisis. He called my mother out. Wasn't supposed to do that from the Pentagon, but he said he had gone to the Pentagon because they called him into the Pentagon. And he called my mother. He said, if the ball goes up, you've got 15 minutes. You'll never make it out of town. And in the building of our apartment in the basement of our apartment building on 16th Street, we had a fallout shelter with all these barrels for water and food boxes. So we climbed the fence to the fallout shelter and broke into one of the boxes. This is in 62, 63, whenever the Cuban Missile Crisis was. So we opened a carton of the crackers and jam and found out they were already stale.
Oh, wow.
So, we're going to starve to death at the bomb, but living in Washington, D.C., we knew we were toast.
Right,
we were
you're right there in ground zero.
2 miles from the White House, so.
Yeah. We've got another caller. Caller, state your name and any questions or comments. Caller, you there? Looks like maybe we have a paranormal caller. Moving on. We want to point out to our phone lines are just lit up right now. We're getting tons of calls, so just understand we're taking them, we're queuing them up and getting them. So just stay ringing. If you do call in and we go to you, you're going to hear the audio of the show coming through, but you aren't necessarily going to be able to speak through. So just wait until you hear us say, "Caller, you're on the air." So our caller's gone. So continue what you're saying with the fallout shelter.
Well, just that. I see stuff on eBay, Geiger counters, all kinds of stuff. Some of the original stuff goes for a high price, but having living about, I'm guessing 2 miles from the White House, we were going to be history. I watched a program, The End of the World. They were talking about the various ways nuclear war could wipe us out even today. 2 blocks from me is the police station, and on Wednesdays, they sound the air raid siren as a test for the refinery just over the hill. And every time I hear that, we had one on Post Street when I lived with my mother on our roof of our building. It scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Just because that carryover from the 50s when we all thought the Russians, who were the only ones that had the bomb other than us, maybe the British and the French, were going to nuke us. And one of the things in that show, they said, Putin, an advisor of Putin, put out a news story that Russia has the ability to turn America into radioactive dust, and someone says, why would Putin allow one of his advisors to put out a public story like that, and he's flexing his muscles or showing his power or something? So they even had, will terrorists get a nuclear bomb? And one expert said, probably not. It takes a great deal of work and effort and money to make your own bomb.
Right.
But that's the one thing more than CBW and all of that scares me is nuclear bombs. And I just never got over that. I watched all those old American International pictures at Ray Milland and people in the houses and the cities blown up and all that. And watched numerous bomb tests, in Nevada. I lived in Las Vegas. We had the nuclear test site right over the hill. We got there too late to actually feel live tests, but you could feel them in Vegas when they were being set off in the 60s.
Yeah, we've got.
That's why Howard Hughes got.
Yeah. We've got another caller on the line. State your name and what's your question or comment, maybe.
Yeah, my name is Edward. Let me turn this down. I'm sorry.
No
my
problem.
name is Edward. And my question is to George. Do you feel like you're being haunted now, maybe, or you know what I mean? Could you talk about being attacked constantly in your videos and stuff. I'm just curious.
Attacked how? I'm not attacked by anybody currently, except
Oh, you were
verbally.
talking about like different people. I don't know. Were these like apparitions or like real people or?
No, I had got robbed at gunpoint. A guy put a 44 auto mag in my stomach that started to pull the trigger, and I grabbed the barrel. But for about 6 months afterwards, I woke up with night terrors and screaming. Aliens were killing me, monsters with ray guns, handguns, rifles. I was terrified. And
wow, that sounds like. I mean, that's really incredible. I mean, wow, that's really. I'm just sorry you had to go through all that.
Well, I got robbed three times at gunpoint in my life. One guy came into a place where I was working, had me get on my knees and put the gun barrel in my mouth. So after the third time, I said, God is telling me to quit doing this for a living. So I quit.
Well, I don't blame you. Yeah, I'm going to have to get off. I just want to tell you one last thing, George, from the bottom of my heart. Take care of my Legion.
All right, looks like we've got another caller here.
Before we take another call,
go ahead.
George, you said you had a few times where you've been held at gunpoint. Are you a proponent of guns, or because of your experiences, would you prefer that Americans were stripped of guns?
No, I would not prefer that. I have known people. We have areas of this country which are carry states, and you don't see terrorists going into public places, malls, because you don't know who's going to be having a gun and who doesn't. Yet you have theaters in Colorado, safe zones on campuses where even the police are not allowed to carry a weapon, and they're going to go where someone doesn't have a weapon. If I'd had a gun, well, certain jobs, cashier jobs, retail, you're not allowed to have a weapon. If I'd thought about the time I had all kinds of wonderful cleaning supplies at hand, I would have sprayed him with ammonia or a window cleaner or something. But when you're grabbing the barrel of a gun and the guy's 20 years younger than you, you're thinking of this. If that thing goes, I watched enough Western movies that always said, if you get gut shot, you're toast.
Right.
So I wasn't about to have the guy shoot me through my stomach and have it go out the other end. And 2 customers walked up, and that's why I'm convinced I'm alive. He took off. But he got really mad that I dared to grab the gun barrel, but he started to pull the trigger. I had no choice. What was I going to do? But I got hit over the head once with a gun going into a store, and the guy got irked. In fact, the gun he was using was a replica of an 1860 Navy Colt revolver. It was worth more than what he robbed me for $50. Got mad.
Oh, really?
I said, it's payday. It's gone. So I think, look, most of the crime stories, there are a small percentage of the general population that are gun owners. Every gun owner I've known personally has been a responsible person. They keep their guns locked up. A lot of them aren't even hunters. They go out and target shoot, or they're just collectors. So we have a lot of anti-gun hysteria in this country by people who've never owned a gun and know nothing about weapons.
Yeah, I can tell you a personal story. I have a family member who pulled over to help somebody on the interstate who had a flat tire, and the person pulled a knife out on him and told him to give him all their money. And my family member reached around for their gun and held the gun out, didn't point it at him or anything, and said, well, I think this would beat a knife, so why don't we just fix your tire and you move along? And then the guy just ran out into the woods. It wasn't even his car. So his gun, saved him from being robbed or possibly severely injured.
Well, I'm curious. How was it not his car? That's a little strange.
There was a car
had a flat tire with somebody.
It was a car that had a flat tire. The car had a flat tire, but this person just went up, and it was on the interstate, so somebody at some point had stopped their car and went to change it, but then left probably to get help or whatever. Okay. And so
what the hell was he doing on the interstate without a car? That's exactly. What time of night was it?
Oh, it was during the day. It was right in the middle of it wasn't like it wasn't rush hour traffic or anything, but there was still plenty of traffic on the road. Yeah.
Oh, nothing about guns. I'll tell you a Kathy story. I wish I'd been there. It would have gone. Well, I didn't have an iPad then, but it would have gone on my iPhone. We had. What's that?
We have a caller on the line who I just took him off. Took them off mute, but
we
it's fine.
we had a flat tire about 11 o'clock at night, and we were out in Morgan Hill, California, which is 60 miles from San Francisco. And I go trudging off to look for a phone to call AAA, and I had no idea where it was, and it's pitch dark. Well, Kathy's standing by the car, and I've never seen one live. Bill Shatner used to hunt them, and there's a weird story today on the news where there are wild boars in Europe, and they're radioactive from Chernobyl, and they're wandering in the mountains. But anyway,
Oh, wow.
she's standing by the car, and to the right of the car, and she's at an off-ramp, but it's dark. You can't, unless a car go by, you can't see anything. Suddenly she hears rustling through the bushes, and this huge, she said she figured it was about 400 pounds. This boar comes out and looks at her. She looks at it, and she said they stared at each other about 5 minutes, and the boar went back in the bushes. And I said, wow, I wish I'd seen that.
That'd be wild.
So that was a strange story, but no, I know people who have gotten robbed. I know people who have fought people off, but you know, you never know what the criminal is going to do. I'd rather be armed and protected than unarmed and be, you know, a victim.
Right.
Curtis, you mentioned a story about a relative of yours on the interstate that had a knife pulled on him, and I had a similar story where a knife was pulled on me, and I've actually got the audio of it right here. So I'll
really?
just go and play it.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Nice. That was a good Crocodile Dundee joke right there.
Yes, it was.
Okay, caller, state your name. Sorry, not to cut you off there, Jazz. Go ahead.
Hello.
Okay, caller, state your name and your question or comment.
Yes, my name is Michael, and this may sound like a troll question, but it's really not. You know, being mean or a troll question. It's not nothing like that. I'm just being serious. I'm not joking. Like George says that he's, you know, an expert on paranormal activity. I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying if he is, like, can you do more videos on that topic? Like, it seems like I don't know, 75% of the videos are like on hauls of fresh OJ, turkey kielbases, and cat crunchies.
Well,
I mean, I know this sounds like a troll question. But I mean,
no, it's legitimate. I get this lately. Let me answer that. For the better part of the last year, I've been sick. I've had an infected tooth. I've still got a sinus infection, and the latest episode with acid reflux, which has... Excuse me a minute. Oh. Sorry for
I know
making
how
that
that
noise.
is. I have that too.
It has wrecked the back of my throat. And I made a joke in one video, I think there's something wrong with his throat. So I'm going to my ear, nose, and throat surgeon on the second one to try to do something with the damn sinus infection, which is from the bad tooth, which is gone. But I've been ill more than well with all of this and bronchitis. I haven't felt like doing videos at all some days, because when you're lying there having bile run up your throat or you can't talk, I was doing the paranormal early on, but the other thing is all of this was keeping me not sleeping. So I'm now getting back into it slowly. But when you have no energy, you're not sleeping for days on end. There was periods where I didn't sleep but 2 hours a night for 2 weeks because I was so sick. I will always be interested in the paranormal. It's also finding things to talk about. I was also rather disappointed about not being on Coast to Coast anymore. So for a while there, my heart hasn't been in it. I've got to get mentally back into the idea of doing stuff on the paranormal, and I will be doing that more and more as weeks go on. But that's why I haven't been doing it, because I just didn't physically feel like it, emotionally feel like it, and didn't have the energy to do a lot of stuff. I was putting out videos at point 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 videos a day. And then I got ill with this. The damn tooth just killed me for 9 months. So I've got to get my big toe when it's not numb from that problem back into the water, and I'm going to be doing that in coming weeks.
Great. Do you have any other questions, caller?
Woo, woo, woo.
Sounds like you have an excited fan there. All right, our next caller, you are on the air.
Indeed.
How are you guys doing this evening? I'm not going to try to hide my identity here. It's Open Lines Gerry, George. Good evening to you as well, sir.
I'd rather not talk to you, thank you. Have a
May
pleasant
I
night.
ask one question?
No.
Completely legitimate.
Please hang up on
All right,
him.
we
The
will
Circle of Distrust abused me terribly. I will not, do not want any calls from any of the three of them.
All right,
Thank
we
you.
can move right along then. Go ahead and jump in with another call here. Hold on just a moment. Let's add our next caller. All right, caller, you are on the line.
Hi, this is Eileen. I have a question.
Hi, Eileen. What would you like to ask George?
I want to ask him about Roswell and Area 51.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Caller?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
go
go
ahead
ahead.
with it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, go ahead, ma'am. My knowledge is from reading and videos and watching television programs. I have not been to either place. It's probably my number one and number two things on my personal bucket list. And in about 2 years, I'll have a car of my own. I'll be going to both places.
My question, think if it's really true that there's a reason that we're being kept from knowing about it?
Well, there's a number of things. First of all, take the paranormal out of the equation. There's a lot of stuff in the Defense Department, the NSA, the CIA, and other alphabet agencies that are redacted when you ask for a freedom of information request that they don't want us to know about. It could be treaties with other countries. It could be interaction with other military or intelligence agencies. The same with the FBI. They've released stuff about J. Edgar Hoover and UFOs. But the other thing, let's assume for a moment, as Bob Lazar and other people have said, that we are interacting with aliens, the Greys or whoever it is. They don't want us to know about that because some of that may be unconstitutional and they might go to jail. That may be part of it too. I don't know what's going on. I firmly believe.
Do you think that we're just not capable of dealing with it, or what?
I think that elements in the government, be they Democrats or Republicans, or they think we're children, that we're too stupid, too naive to judge for ourselves. And it's also a matter of control. If we don't know, it's a way of controlling us. The other thing, I met Jesse Marcel Jr. I met his daughter. I talked to Jesse Marcel Jr. and I talked about his father. And I have his book on my shelf, autographed, The Son. And I talked to Jesse Marcel's two sons, Junior's two sons, Dr. Marcel. So I'm firmly convinced Roswell occurred. And one thing I really want to do, I'm going to go to the Roswell anniversary site. I'm going to go out to not only the Roswell crash site, the supposed Aztec crash site as well, and get someone to go with me. I don't really want to drive out in the middle of the desert by myself, but I'm going to investigate both those places, and I will go to Area 51. You got to be bloody careful about that, because if you go too far, the guys in the white Humvees and stuff will come down, and the Lincoln County will take you away if you get too close to Area 51 physically. And so that's why you don't want to do that.
But why do you think they're only in contact with us? Why wouldn't they be in contact with countries from the rest of the world?
Oh, I'm sure they are in some cases. Remember, there were the earliest crash I've heard of is either in Germany or Italy,
So you think
in
it was
the
just
20
an accident that they were here?
No, I think they've been coming here for hundreds, if not thousands of years. You got to think about one thing about this planet. If you assume the conditions of our planet are like where life can form, most planets are hostile to life. They're too cold, they're too hot, they're too close, or too far away from the sun. We also have things. One of my books, a book on Area 51, one fellow claimed the aliens are harvesting boron. Now, boron's a fire retardant, among other things. It's also a washing aid for your laundry, of all things. Why aliens be harvesting boron, I don't know. But there's certain chemicals they may not have in their planets, and that's why they come here. And then you have all the way to Nibiru, where they were harvesting gold and silver and precious metals. So that may be another thing. I don't know why they're here. There is the other thing about the Greys, where supposedly they're harvesting us because they need certain fluids out of our bodies to keep their skin alive. They breathe through their skin.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, thank you very much for your opinion, George.
Thank
I
you for
appreciate
calling.
it.
Good call. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the call.
Bye.
By the way, I want to say one other thing. I have never said I'm a paranormal expert. What I have said is I know a lot about the paranormal. I used to have 5,000 paranormal books and about an equal number of military and history books before I lost my storage. I've been reading about the paranormal, Charles Fort, UFOs, spontaneous combustion since I was about 5 years old. I'll be 65 in April. And the first paranormal book I read were the Charles Fort books, then Georgia Dempsey, Truman Bethram, all the contactees of the 50s. My mother had friends who were into UFOs. I used to go to the Metaphysical Town Hall bookshop on Powell Street and bought books there when I was 12 years old. And I went to every bookstore in San Francisco and Oakland, was buying paranormal books all the time. So my father used to say, "You them damn UFOs." He didn't like the paranormal. My mother was into astrology too. So I've known tarot card readers. I know some fantasy writers who are also also into the paranormal. So I've been to I was at the late Robert Bloch's house. We talked about his writings while I was there. He did things on Jack the Ripper, wrote for Star Trek, wrote the screenplay for Psycho. So I'm almost steeped in it. I mean, it's just something that if I see a paranormal book, I get excited because it's something else I don't know. I was in the history museum here, the Martinez History Museum, and they had a book on the shelf, Haunted Hotels of the Gold Country. I said, well, I took a picture of it on my iPhone and said, that's another book I need to get in my collection.
George,
I'm always looking for new knowledge.
George, you mentioned you lost your storage, and are you familiar with the TV show Storage Wars?
Oh, yeah.
Because I've been keeping an eye on it, and I'm looking for your storage locker if it ever... if someone...
No. This is in 2001. I had a manager at Public Storage who was always a month... excuse me. She was always a month behind in her accounting because she was an idiot. And I went in to pay my bill one day, and I always paid the bill. They'd send me notices, and I had 2 storage units. I had gotten evicted from my apartment because the owner of the building, he owns about 150 apartment buildings in the Bay Area. He wanted to turn everything into condos, so I had to move and put everything in storage. And I went to pay my storage bill. We sold your stuff. What do you mean you sold? We sent you a notice. You didn't send me a notice on this. I pay you every month, the first of the month. So I lost stuff going back to when I was 5 years old. Everything, all my precious things, cat pictures, graduation stuff, paranormal things, Star Trek things, Man from Uncle, just everything precious to me is gone. All the stuff that was junky was in the other storage. Also with 13 bookcases. I've always had bookcases. Always had books.
We have another caller on the line.
Hello, am I on the air?
You're on the air. Do you have a question for George? State your name and question or comment.
I'd prefer not to say my name, but I'm really nervous. Please bear with me. I haven't been this nervous since the last time I called into the show. But I just had a quick question for George, and man, I'm nervous. Being a big guy certainly has its advantages and its disadvantages. What would you say are the advantages to being a big guy, George?
Are you talking height or weight, or just looming in general?
I'd probably say more weight, like somebody who's kind of, like of your stature or something. Like I know that you have some medical problems and it causes problems for your knees and trying to get around and stuff like that. But like, there's got to be some advantages to being your size as well.
The only advantage is sometimes, and it's not conscious, and I'm not doing a deliberately, my mouth is dry, excuse me. Deliberately is I do have a tendency, and I've had people say I loom over them. When you're 6'2", even if I wasn't overweight, you loom. Now, I've met women who are taller than me, and they loom over me, and I once spent a day with John Wayne, who was 6'4", and he made me feel like a midget. So it's a point of view. But I try not to I get excited and I talk to people and I get a little too close sometimes too. But believe me, this gut is not an advantage. My back hurts all the time and my knees hurt, and there's no advantage I can see personally to being overweight. I do not accept this whole concept now of fat acceptance. I have nothing against people that are, I don't know if there's something beyond morbidly obese. I don't like that term. If you say morbid, that means I don't know what it means, but this is not the weight I want to be. I was 260 before I fractured my kneecap about 12 or 13 years ago on an escalator. I'm scared to death of escalators now because I'm afraid I'm going to fall again. But I used to walk every day with no pain and walked for years, and I'm going to do everything I can this year to lose weight. It's just I've had to take loans out because I wasn't getting paid by Premier when I should have, and that's put me in a hole money-wise. But I watched a video this morning, nothing to do with the paranormal, where they said you should eat 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, and that's a little mind-boggling. But I do need to eat more fruits and vegetables. But some of the stuff I've been eating, like oranges, grapefruits, cause acid reflux. So I'm going to have to rethink part of my whole diet. I'm actively trying to keep off the junk food. I'm not totally succeeding, but 60 years of eating junk food, it takes a while to stop.
Right.
So I made a joke to my girlfriend today. I wish there was some kind of laser device I could just laser off all the fat, like you cut the fat off on some corned beef. That's another thing. Why do they always leave all that fat on corned beef when you buy it to make it? Why don't they trim that damn stuff? I fell asleep last night. My corned beef burned. I walked over a mile, and my knee was hurting every step, but I didn't want to wait 40 minutes for the bus, so I decided to walk to Pleasant Hill City Hall to wait for the next bus. And when I opened up the corned beef, there's this huge amount of fat on it. So it didn't set fire to anything. It just burned the carrots and some of the corned beef. So, but I would love to be back to 260 again. I'll shoot for 300 first. I'm 343 and a third when I went to the doctor, not this garbage from Sewergab that I'm 500 pounds or 400 pounds. My late friend
That's
Glenn,
projection on their end. Don't worry about it.
the last time I saw him, I was shocked. He had to weigh 600 pounds, and he had multiple heart attacks, and he wouldn't change his diet at all. I tried for years to I said, start walking out the front door and across the street, and every day extend it further, and he wouldn't do it.
All right,
and
George.
I see people, well, real quick, I've
go ahead.
got to say this,
Yep.
the health and weight. I see people on the bus, their one leg is the size of both my legs, and they're in what I call fat chairs. And they tell me, I've got diabetes, and they're huge. And I go like, you need to get out of that friggin' chair and start walking.
Right.
Because that's a death sentence as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well, yeah, sitting
They get
is one of the
bigger
worst
and
things you can
bigger
do.
and bigger, and they make no effort to exercise at all. It's, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
My cartilage under my kneecap is broken, and that's why my knee swells up, and I've had the doctor say that's why I'm having pain. But I still walk. It just hurts. The biggest problem I have other than walking is when it rains, the damn knee swells up, and I get sinus headaches, and you know about that, Curtis.
Yes,
so
I do.
At least. So I planned if I ever build my own house, I'm going to see if there's a way to put negative pressure in the house with an airlock system that you wouldn't get the outside air coming in. I don't know if you could do that, but I figured maybe that would stop the sinus headaches.
Just before we go to the next call, talking about changing looks, George, I've noticed a change in you over the last week or so. A bit of facial hair has sprung up.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted you to explain the thinking behind that.
It wasn't any thinking at all. One, I ran out of razors. And two, I had the acid reflux problem where I was staying in bed for 3 and 4 days at a time and with burning acid going up my throat and feeling like crap. And I just didn't get out of bed for a couple of days. Just lie there and watch DirecTV Now and YouTube videos and got up and did a video, went back to bed and felt like crap. So I just didn't shave. And being that it's winter and it's been, we've had as low as 25 here at night, which is, or 23, I think, really cold for the Bay Area. It snowed at Skyline Boulevard, which is in the peninsula, 3 times this year. It's a little warmer to wear the beard. I do have what's it called? Begins with a D. It's skin dermatology problem. When I have a beard, the follicles get inflamed and infected. And Kathy hasn't seen the beard, so she'll probably have a large cow when she sees it. So I'll probably wind up.
I can tell you for sure that the ladies like the beard. It's definitely working for you. Let's get to this caller. I've had them sitting on hold for a while. Caller, you were on the line.
They peeked at the patio window and saw that her husband was.
Take that off. That's a copy of one of my videos. So please get rid of it.
All right, no problem. All right, let's go ahead and drop that call.
Get rid of that.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I don't even know what was happening there. I couldn't really tell what was being said.
I know what it was. That's Kathy's voice. They took an audio of one of her videos and decided to be cute and play it. They're not cute at all. They're schmucks.
Okay, let's go.
He's saying Pittsburgh Jagoffs.
Let's jump to our next
caller. Not angry,
just... Let's go to our next caller if you want to go ahead and state your name and any comment or question. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, I should. Oh, yeah, that's right.
All right, stop this again.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Is he calling in on the same number?
It was a different number that time because we've got a queue of things building up here. So let's try to get through some of these pretty quickly and go to our next line.
I think it's very sad that they want to disrupt the show by being juvenile.
And they peeked in the patio window.
All right, enough.
Okay, that's weird because that's 3 different numbers that aren't connected at all that we're doing that. I really, like I said, I can't understand for sure what's even being said in that. But
maybe he's got 3 burner phones or multiple lines.
That reminds me. Have you seen the TV show Hunted? Where there's Yeah,
that show disturbed me on a number of levels.
You learn a lot of stuff.
Well, I already knew a lot of stuff. I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of video watching. But it disturbs me that we have former law enforcement officials on a show acting as if these people are criminals and hunting them down. Richard Kimball today would probably not survive from The Fugitive.
Right.
But it's just, I've watched every episode, but once I learned it existed, but it still disturbs me on a privacy basis. There are videos watching you when you're taking money out of the ATM, surveillance. Now, I don't know how it is in Australia, Jazz, but in Britain, there's thousands of cameras in downtown London. We have thousands in New York City and Washington, D.C. We're monitoring our people, and we shouldn't be. I'm doing it for crime, I guess, and traffic control, but where does it stop? Where do you have any privacy at all or any illusion of privacy? And I saw an article, and I can't remember where I saw it, saying we have no privacy anymore. The concept is gone. And someone it might have been George Orwell said one day we will not have the term privacy will be completely outmoded. It won't exist.
Look, I don't have much of a problem with it in public spaces, but when it starts coming into your bedroom, that's when I draw the line.
Do you have any haunted koalas with a video camera in your bedroom?
No, but I worry sometimes about cameras in my Ethernet cables.
You know, I've read, and aside from MV, where their cameras in cables and they can do all kinds of strange stuff over the internet, accessing your stuff. If I were to start over today, I would not be on the internet except to watch television. I wouldn't be doing videos. I wouldn't be on any websites. I would just read stuff and watch my programs like NCIS. That's another thing. How come on NCIS, Scorpion, they got better computers than I could ever find in a store? Now, I know they're probably all made with a Mac or something, but it's still annoying. And they can tell where the terrorist had lunch at 9. At 9:02, he had a cup of coffee. At 9:03, he bought a sandwich. At 9:04, he took a piss. I can't get a computer like that. I want one.
Right. Okay, we've got a caller who's called in several times here, and I'm just going to ask you before I take the call. It says Mr. Ratty Patty. Is that a call you want to take, or do you want me to just drop that?
No,
don't take it. Okay, well, let's go to our next call here, because like I said, we've got a line built up.
Anything relating to my videos, just flush it.
Just drop it.
We have the flushing noise. Did we ever get that working?
yeah, let's go to our next caller. Caller, let's have a contest. How long can you stay on the line? What's your name, and what's your question or comment?
It's Doug, and I'm calling about a deceased friend who's contacting me from the beyond.
All right.
Wow.
In what way is he contacting you?
He keeps coming up on a dreams I'm having. He had this really bad run of luck and got divorced and lost his job, and he basically drank himself to death. And I keep having this dream. He keeps telling me he's stuck in limbo and he needs my help, and I don't know what to do. I'm not a very religious person.
Well, there are various things. Now, mind you, this is my reading and studying. You can have a group of people pray for him in a group. That is helpful to help them move on. Get together with some paranormal people, and they can maybe hold a seance or even a prayer meeting. I don't know what, or this could be just coming from your subconscious, and I'm not saying it is. Don't take me the wrong way, or I hope you don't feel offended. You could be having unresolved issues of guilt with your friend that you couldn't do anything to help him. I was reading on the Sun or the Mirror today how a 35-year-old, wasn't Facebook, it wasn't Instagram, it wasn't Twitter, some social. Hello? All right, get rid of that. I don't know what that is.
Here. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, that's on your end, does it?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Are you there still calling?
Well, I'm hearing
okay.
fire.
Magic Guys is the owner for lovers of...
Okay, hold on. Let's see what's going on here.
The character on the box leaks milk when she gets excited. To include this in the product, the breasts include little channels
where
you can
turn that off.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know what.
I don't know what that was.
Weird.
Yeah, okay, hold on just a moment.
Even if it's a crank call, that's weird. Anyway, a 35-year-old model from one of the social sites, she posed for Playboy. She died of liver disease, basically drank herself to death. So, and she got like 60,000 subscribers on some social network site. And that's in the Sun of the Mirror today.
I believe we've got our caller back on the line. I don't know what just happened. There was a audio glitch. It sounds like.
I think I'm back.
Yep, you are. Sorry about that, everybody.
I'm a little taken aback by that last problem. I don't know what, I'm not an expert on this. I'm not used to talking to the dead. I've seen the dead. I've seen the ghosts of my father and cats, but you might try to seek out someone to help you with the dream issues. There's also books on what dreams mean. But if this was such a close personal friend, I don't know how to resolve the problem. Do some research online and see what you can find to help yourself. I feel for you, and I feel sorry for your friend.
I'm just hoping he's not wanting me to join him, because that's not going to happen.
No. I don't know if he may not even be reaching out to you for all you know. It may come from your self-conscious, and I'm not trying to be negative or anything like that. There's only one or two things. Either he's trying to contact you or he isn't. But I'm not, and I've heard where people dream of people who passed on, but it is a dream. And how real that is, or whether it has a paranormal element to it or not, I can't tell you, because I'm not there. I'm not the one that's happening to. I've dreamt of my mother. I've dreamt of friends that are dead, and I wake up and they're quite vivid to me, but I don't know what the hell it means. It shakes me if it's someone I know personally, but I don't know if it's coming from me or if they're trying to send me a message either. I've had 4 or 5 dreams about my mother, but usually they're my mother in the dream, and she's being negative as she was so frequently. It's so sad, because the woman could be really nice when she wanted to be.
Yeah, we've got another caller on the line. Caller, state your name and question or comment.
Hey, George, it's the clown that ate Cincinnati. How are you, motherfucker? How are you?
Okay.
All right, I'm just assuming that's a drop, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to another caller.
Phrase out of one of my videos.
Oh, okay. I was not familiar with that. So, okay. New caller, you're on the
Actually, I take that back. That's out of one of my private Skype or Google Hangouts calls that the Circle of Distrust released on Sewergab. So.
Oh, really?
That's why I don't want to talk to them anymore, because all 3 of them are lying trolls, and I could go further than that, but I won't.
Yeah, is it the end of the circle? I guess it is.
Oh, it's been dead since I was. All this stuff started appearing on Belgab, and they claimed innocence. We didn't do it, and I know they did it because I have the proof of it. So. And there's certain things that were only sent to open Lines Gerry, and suddenly they appeared on, and they claim, oh, that's because your computer was infected and your iPad was infected. And I sent some of them information only to one person, and suddenly it appears on. I got told by people friendly to me, did you see what so-and-so posted on Belgab? And they would always say it was someone pretending to be them.
Well, we've got another caller on the line. Let's go ahead and take this call and move on. Yeah, caller, state your name and question or comment.
Yeah, this is Billy Joe Mulgrady. Hey, just want to say thanks to Jazz and
for
getting this man back on the air. Appreciate it.
And no problem.
George, how you doing, man?
Fine. How you been? I appreciate your emails to me too, the occasional ones. When you come out of the wilds of the rib shacks with your pile of half-eaten rib bones in front of you.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I just wanted to...
I'm waiting for that order of ribs from Kansas City, you know.
Yep, right outside of Kansas City. If you come through here, stop by, and we'll go get some ribs. Hey, somebody called in earlier, George, and was asking why you don't do more paranormal stuff. And I know that you said that you've been ill, and we're all well aware of a lot of your ailments and stuff like that. But my question for you is, if you're sitting in your apartment and you've got all these books around you and stuff like that, what's the difference in, maybe talking about a paranormal book, maybe an experience, something like that, than, showing us,
well, the problem is when I've done book
a can of canned peas or something, you know what I mean?
Sorry, when I've done book reviews, they've gone over like lead weight. I hadn't thought of doing that. I've been preferring to go to news stories. I guess I'll have to go through some of my books and sit down one day and not do a video at all, which there are days I'm almost like a junkie, though. If I don't do a video, I feel, I don't know what the word is, like I'm lost.
Right.
But I'd sit down one day and look through some of my books and take notes on strange stories, like the Montana UFO crash brought up in one of Donald Keough's books, and yet I called the newspaper in that town, and the editors said they never heard of it. That happened in the 50s, and yet it's on the list of one of the UFO crashes. There's a list out there somewhere, and supposedly a UFO was recovered. So there's about 40 or 50 UFO crashes in the United States alone, where it's like Kecksburg, where they've recovered UFOs. So,
well, I tell you, man, as one of your subscribers, and visiting with some of the other subscribers and stuff too, that sounds a hell of a lot more interesting than canned peas. You know what I mean? So, if you have a gift, you're a speed reader, right? And so you've read a lot of these books. I'm assuming that you retain knowledge of some of these books and stuff like that, and you would be able to,
well, I don't always, because it depends on what I'm reading. It took me about 2 weeks to finish the Area 51 book. I think it was called Area 51 Chronicles, without having it in hand. It's also a curse because I found 3 books today. I will read those tomorrow, and I'll probably have them all done in one day. And then I'll talk about the stories in them once I'm done. The first sentence amused me, but it hadn't occurred to me. Right now I can't get to one of my shelves. And I've got the bookshelf here next to me with all these books, but I'm just going to have to probably sit down one day, look through books, and see things I can bring up in a video.
I think that would be a good thing to do, George. And then also, kind of reach out and converse a little bit with some of your subscribers. I think that would really help endear yourself to them. And
there's another thing. I have still, even after 1,300 and almost 1,400 videos right now, I have. It's not stage fright, but it's fear, and I don't know where it comes from. So, are they going to like this
to clarify,
video?
You're afraid to talk about the paranormal stuff, but
no, I'm not afraid to talk about the paranormal.
And all that kind. I mean, I don't understand.
No. I just when I was doing most of the haul videos, you got to think. I go out on the bus, I go get food.
Sure.
Somebody said we're popular. I did the decorations videos. And by the time I go out and spend 3 hours going to get food, it's like going out and hunting a saber-toothed tiger and eating it. I'm exhausted. I'm too tired to do anything but take a shower and go and put away the food and go, ugh, and collapse in the bed. So that was part of it. Now I will cut those down. But I have this thing in the back of my mind, oh God, are they going to like this thing, or they think it's going to suck? And that's what I mean about the fear. There's days where I also, even though I'm almost addicted to doing videos now, I'm also afraid of doing videos. Partly I get a mental block sometimes. I don't know. I lie there in the living room, or I sit in here in front of my Mac, and I go I have video block. I can't think of a damn thing to talk about, and I can't think where to start.
Right.
And I had writer's block when I wrote professionally and got paid for it, so it's kind of the same problem.
You said that you had written professionally for military magazines. Is that right?
Yeah. Those are long gone. It's back in the 80s. I do have one thing that I guess I should dig out. It's on my computer somewhere. I was supposed to be, and then the magazine folded. I was supposed to be a guest columnist on UFO magazine.
Oh, is that right?
I still have the article.
Is that the Burns magazine?
I should publish that, just for that. Dig it out wherever it's hiding on my Mac. It's one problem. My Mac puts files in strange places.
Yeah.
But,
hey, George. You can go ahead and keep expounding on this, keep talking about it. But I'm going to get off here because I know it was kind of hard for me to get through. There's probably some other people that are trying to get a hold of you. But I appreciate you taking the call. Guys, appreciate you
I'd rather have your call than some... Thank you.
Thanks, BJM.
I'd rather have your call than some idiot playing badly edited audios of me or Kathy. At least we accomplished something useful. And I like Billy a lot.
Thank you for that call.
But...
well, So your column.
Maybe I should sit down one day and actually write an article and then read it on the air. I think that's the other thing.
Well, if you'd like,
but I've got to get my mind in the writing mode again, which I haven't done in years.
If you'd like to write for Paranormal Chat, paranormal.chat, I'd be willing to give you a column on it. We need more viewers.
Sure. Give me an idea, and I'll type something up and send it to you. That'd be great. I'd like to do that.
Nice. Okay, we've got another caller.
My typing. I have another problem that, for some reason, I think it's mentally, or maybe I'm just too old school. I miss one thing that I don't have anymore. I missed actually two things. I missed my computer with WordStar, and I missed my IBM Correcting Select 3.
Nice.
I wrote everything on my damn Selectric and my WordStar computer. So it's
easy to get in a groove on that.
Looking at the screen, I type 60 words a minute, but it's seeing it on paper was different.
Right.
It made it easier because I could go back and look what I'm and put footnotes in and all that stuff. And
yeah, I don't like to read a book like on my iPad or Kindle. I much rather prefer reading on paper. And the same thing.
I have a Kindle. I just don't know where it is right now.
Yeah. We've got another caller on the line. Caller, state your name and your question or comment.
Yeah, this is Eddie C. And I had, when you were talking about UFOs and aliens before, I had like a weird close encounter, but it's weird because it seems like it might have been in a dream, but it seems like my dreams have become reality. I had like this thing of like these glowing people running through fields of corn, and it doesn't make any sense to me. But I don't know if that's aliens or I don't know what it was. Sometimes I feel like I'm losing my mind.
Are you in Iowa or Nebraska? Because they grow a lot of popcorn there. That's not a joke. I don't know what that would mean. Are these grays or some other kind of aliens?
They're like golden colored. So I talked to like one or two people, and that was a big mistake. I became like a laughing stock for like a day or two. And then I was like, maybe I was in a dream, and then finally they finally forgot about it. You know?
You're talking to the wrong guys. You're talking the normals.
Yeah.
You're not talking paranormal people. You come to guys like me and Jazz and Curtis and Art Bell and George Norrie and Linda Moulton Hound. That's who you need to talk to. We won't ridicule you. We'll say, hey, that's interesting.
Tell us more. Exactly. We were right in sync on that one.
Well, it's just so weird. It seems like, if I had in a dream, my dreams become reality, or I don't know. Maybe I don't know what it was.
Did these look like? Did these look like grays or guys in bodysuits? What do they look? Or intelligent robots? What do they look like?
Well, that it looks like these golden people, like in golden bodysuits, really shiny though, and like almost like you want to shield your eyes or put on sunglasses.
Now, were they regular people or were they small like the Greys or other beings like that?
It seemed like they were regular height though, like around 5-6 feet, maybe. It's just really strange.
Because I believe there have been reports at times about people in silver suits or who were actually silver. I don't remember without looking up my books, and that would take a while to dig stuff. Or who were actually silver. I don't remember without looking up my books, and that would take a while to dig stuff. Or who were actually silver. I don't remember without looking up my books. I don't know what that is.
Is that not you
he's recording me and playing it back, or it's feedback, or something very weird.
I think caller, make sure your device is turned down that you're listening on.
Oh, I turned down my devices, and I have my thing muted. Is that me?
I don't know. We just had another person call in too that I just added to the queue, so it could be that too. Sorry about that, caller.
That's
feel free to continue. Or sorry, George, you were talking. I apologize.
No, I've read stories.
Magic Eyes is the owner hole for lovers of lactation. The story behind the product is that the character on the box leaks milk when she gets excited. To include this in the product, the breasts include little channels where you can insert a milk-like lubricant.
Weird going on with Skype here.
During use, the milk will leak out of the breast. But besides the breast, this product includes a dual layer vaginal tunnel, which gives a mouth.
There you go. I got it. It's off now. It's fixed.
And it doesn't include a lot of twists and turns.
No, it's not.
Gosh. Okay, hold on. Let me figure out what's going
All
on.
right, Curtis, mess up. What do you got on your PC? Weirdness from Jazz Monday. One of you guys.
Maybe I need to close the
Lactating
tab.
koalas, lactating crocodiles. I don't know.
Here, hold on. Let's take
Crocodile koalas.
Let's take a different call.
Weird stuff.
Do any of that stuff though. I don't know. They didn't do any of that. I don't know who that was.
I don't know what that was. That was weird. But
that was crazy, man. That was almost as weird as the aliens I saw.
Well, I closed all the tabs I had open, so maybe that won't happen again.
Now that's a weird lactating Nordic aliens.
Yeah.
Think about that one for a minute. With hybrid babies, probably. I don't know.
Messing their pants and diapers and stuff. You know what I mean? Crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Wow.
Well, from what I understand, the hybrids don't have any rear equipment, so they don't have sex organs, as you recall. But that's strange. No, I was reading in a book, in one of the books I picked up today. Briefly, I was skimming it, and in Brazil, they have had stories of silver dressed or silver aliens. So you may not be dreaming. This could have actually you could be experiencing an abduction episode like Whitley Strieber.
Wow.
And not know it. That's another thing.
That's an abduction. Damn. That's crazy.
That sounds more like an abductee case. Where you're experiencing possibly having been abducted and you're interpreting it as a dream because your subconscious is blocking it out, or the abductors have blocked that out and it's coming to the surface. And I have Bud Hopkins' books somewhere and other abductee books. So, of course, the big case there is the incident, not the incident, Benny and Barney Hill, but that could be too. This is not really a dream. You're reliving an abductee thing. Part of the problem with doing this over the phone is I can't talk to you and say, this is what I think it is without seeing you in person. And you might, I don't know who you'll go to with Bud Hopkins being gone about abductees, because most UFO researchers disdain the whole abductee experience. I think, frankly, people are being abducted. There's more than that. When you have thousands of cases of people reporting missing time and being abducted, there's something going on.
Yeah, what would you recommend to anyone who's listening tonight who's in a situation like our caller where they're really not sure who to talk to about their situation? Do they call their local MUFON agent? I mean,
that would be a good idea. There's nowhere else, not like the old day when NICAP was very anti-abduction. There's nowhere else I can think of. There's a MUFON chapter. Where are you, caller, without telling me what city you are in?
What's that, sir?
He's still there?
Yep, he's still there.
Where are you without...
Wait, it's breaking up a little. I'm sorry.
See if there's a local MUFON chapter where you live, or contact National MUFON. There's a MUFON chapter, for instance, in Marin County, run by the woman who runs the UFO con that was in Sacramento.
Yeah, I think there's legions of MUFON agents out there that can work with you.
Well, you were talking about the Hill case. Was that movie that had James Earl Jones in it from a long time ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good movie. I remember that.
I read the book when it came out, but I also read it in Look magazine when John G. Fuller came out. It was serialized in Look. This is going back to 62, 63, 64, something like that.
Well, the weird thing is, you're talking about abduction. I woke up and I was kind of sore anyways. Maybe that would explain it too. You know? I mean, it sounds weird though. The whole case, I mean, like an anal probe, or I don't know if they still do it, or I hope they didn't.
I don't. Well, not everybody is probed. You know, some people are taken out, and you know the original. They weren't malevolent abductee stories. The original ones, the Venusians or whoever, Alpha Centaurians, Proxima Centaurians, came and brought you into your saucer, and they would tell you how the Earth was in danger of the atomic bomb or environmental damage, and they were usually Nordics and all of that. But there are also the malevolent ones where they actually attack people in Central and South America and in the United States, and the people's cars stop working and all that. And then we have the people in their own homes. They're sound asleep, and suddenly they're floating out the window. And they're terrified. They've got night terrors for years, and they don't know why. And they have dreams that are scaring the living hell out of them. So this could either be a dream, or you maybe have been abducted, or maybe something happened in your childhood that you're reliving, and you're interpreting it as a dream. I don't know. But I've read enough of these accounts that something is going on inside of you, and if it isn't a dream, then it's probably based on something that's actually happened to you, whether it's a regular incident or something paranormal. I don't know.
Well, caller, I hope this call and the conversation with George has helped build some of the healing that you're looking for.
Yeah, I think so too. And then the weird thing about the aliens was they made me start watching all of these videos that some guy named Jason Callan did, and they were really good videos, though.
Okay, let's drop this. I really wish the Jason Callan people would stop calling in here. This guy, has never done a paranormal video. His fans are obviously calling in what I think are fake stories, fake news.
That felt like a real story.
That was a pretty good story, but you don't need to bring that guy in here. I have nothing against him personally, but if I've looked, I haven't watched all his videos, but I went down and looked at every video he's done, and 99% of them are he eats something, and then he claims he doesn't gain weight because he spits it out. So that's the bulk of his videos. He's eating a sandwich or something got from Arby's. I don't understand the fascination with watching, and he's associated with a guy who gets hundreds of thousands of views, and Callan on a lot of his videos only gets 30 views. So, but he has this legion of supposedly 200,000 fans or subscribers. I don't believe it, but why call in here and ruin this show? And it's not all about me. It's also Jasmunda's and Curtis's show, and it's not fair to them. And it's not fair to the people that want to talk about the paranormal and not a guy who does other types of YouTube videos than I do.
No, you nailed it there.
I think it's very wrong to do that.
I take it, George.
If you're going to do that, don't.
So,
I'm
George,
not angry about it. I just don't think it's right.
So, George, I take it that you would under no circumstances want to talk to Jason Callan on the phone, ever?
Well, the man, from what I was told, and I don't know this to be the truth, I was told that he has said that if he met me face to face, he'd attack me. So, of course, that came from the Circle of Distrust. So I don't know if that's true or not.
Let's go ahead and cleanse the palate and jump to the next caller here. Caller, state your name and your reason for calling.
Have you guys ever seen a girl in a diaper before?
They're part of a fetish community known as ABDL.
Once you get a diaper on you, find that your waist gets a little bit bigger.
Adult baby diaper lovers.
All right.
Hospitals.
I have a onesie pass.
Onesie, is that something I'm familiar with right now? I won't even ask.
I only know onesies from my cousins playing jacks when I was a little child.
Caller, turn down your device. We've got another caller on the line. Let's kind of jump through calls.
How are they doing this after you've already hung them up? I don't get it.
I just didn't get it quick enough.
George, you took too long to can that video. I don't know. Were you interested in the onesie diapers?
No, I was just look. Some of these things, I'm flabbergasted or dumbfounded or whatever the hell you want to. I'm just sitting there going like, what the bleep?
Yeah.
And
I hear you.
Rendered speechless for a minute. Where the hell did this come from? You know, and what do I have to do with diapers? Yeah. Maybe the diapers are on their heads, and that's their problem. They're being smothered, and they can't think anything else.
Okay, we got another caller. Let's go. We've gone for just about an hour and a half. Let's run through a game of burn through some calls really quick. So we got another caller on the line. See what they have.
I'll try, but they're putting speed bumps in the way of the calls.
So they make it go that much quicker. That makes it go quicker if we dump them. So, caller, state your name and your reason for calling.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, this is Venus.
Hey,
Fireball
Venus.
XL5.
Thank you.
Wow. Hello. How are you?
George, it's so good to hear you back on the air again.
Thank you. I'm smitten by you, by the way. Don't tell Kathy.
My goodness.
Your voice is great. I'm melting into a pile of butter right now.
Well, you are a dapper gentleman, but that Jason Callan guy and you, I think you two, if you ever did talk, not that you would, but if you ever did speak together, I think you would get along great. And I think you should do a challenge video. Both of you guys do something and see who does it better.
Well, the problem is, I got accused now. I get post on my YouTube page, which I delete or block, saying I'm copying him. I put an American flag in the background of my video, and he put one on the wall. I cut my hair because Kathy wasn't here to cut my hair. He cut his hair. He looked like Mo Howard. I wear a red shirt. He suddenly starts wearing it, and they claim I'm copying him. Before 6 Week Tenure told me about Jason Callan, I never heard of Jason Callan, didn't know he existed. How could I copy someone I've never heard of?
Right.
I have no desire to talk to the man because everything, all his legion of fans, every post I get from a Legion member is negative toward me. I haven't done anything to Jason Callan other than objecting that he is the one that's copying me, not the other way around.
I know.
And
I think they're just trying to get you riled up, George.
What would I possibly challenge the man to do? Eat a Subway sandwich faster than I could?
Well, that's
I don't get it. But, I mean, I'm not into sitting there eating, except for the time I ate pizza when I was on the Gabcast that someone sent me a pizza on the day before my birthday. I'm not into sitting here eating.
By the way, no deliveries tonight. That's good.
Well, no, I went out and had Chinese, so I'm kind of full. But took a walk, fed all the kitties, and
I saw you were walking today on the video. That's good. You did that long walk. I was happy for you. I thought that was a good thing to do.
And the 2 little kitties, and fed the 3 downstairs, and my 3 are in, and wondered that before it started. Rain's coming in tonight, so and I'm always happy when I feed the kitties. The downstairs kitties, I didn't see them last night at all. I was worried they were gone, and they were here today. So, but I don't see.
Anyway, I won't keep you, George. I'm sure there's still lots of people.
No. You, as far as I'm concerned, you could stay here all night. I don't see any commonality between me and Jason Callan other than the coincidence or whatever you want to call it. That we both do videos, but it's a whole
big
different.
Guys, and you both have a good sense of humor, and
I don't see the videos I've watched. I don't see the humor. I mean, he starts out, "Hello, my Legion," and then starts talking about what he's eating. I don't get it. It puzzles me. Why would you want to watch this? But everybody has their own thing.
People seem to like it. I don't know why, but
I've watched
I mean, he's a nice guy, and I like his videos too. I've seen a couple, but I think you two should do a challenge. I bet he would, if you ever do talk to him. Not that you would, but I think you guys would get along. I really do.
Well,
I think the Circle of Jerks fed you all kinds of BS, and I think Jason's a cool guy.
Well, I plan to go back to Pittsburgh for one thing. My sister is not getting any younger.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back there in about 2 years, although I was shocked to see how much it costs to fly there. It's like $500.
Right.
I know. It's expensive.
But
are you going to go visit him? Would you say hello if you were ever in the same town?
Well, I'm not going to tell you my plans for a a video. It's into my mind. I've already blocked it out like a storyboard. But if I went to, I've never been to Erie. My dad used to run bootleg booze out of Erie in the days of Al Capone. So if I went to Erie and he's near Erie and I cannot remember the town he's in, the problem is that I don't know if it's true that Jason Callan wants to attack me or not. So I'd be
no.
I'm a little,
He
I'm a
seems
little
like a
wary.
nice fella. I don't think he's that kind of guy.
I don't know, but I'm not pouncing on you. Don't misunderstand me. At this point, I told Jasmunda and I told Curtis this. I don't, unless they're a trusted friend like Justin, I don't believe almost anybody who talks to me on the internet. I've been lied to too much. And
well, I can understand that. I don't blame you, George.
Yeah, I think it's a good approach to have at this point.
Right.
I'm very saddened by that because people have this idea of what I am, and I'm not what they think I am.
George, could I ask you a paranormal question, George?
Yeah, sure.
Now, I know you've had some paranormal experiences. Had either your father or your mother, God rest their soul, have they ever had any kind of paranormal experience or abilities? Either of them?
Well, my father was of limited education. He knew two things: how to cook. He was a cook, professional cook, and he'd been in the Army. And he couldn't adjust to civilian life. I think that was his problem. It may be also he may have had PTSD, and there were some medical issues. So he didn't like the paranormal at all, and I think he just couldn't accept it. He only went to the 6th grade. But my mother knew when everybody was sick, when everybody was dying, when something was wrong. She knew when I would lie to her as a kid. I could never get away with a lie. My grandfather appeared at the foot of her bed when we lived in Washington, D.C. at 3 a.m, glowing when he was dying in Germany. She saw and I saw the ghost of my father the day he was buried, and she knew when everybody was. She knew when my Uncle Werner died. He went to his retirement dinner, had a steak dinner, came home, sat on the couch, and died. So she never talked about her past history, but not about the paranormal. But she was into astrology, and I'm certain, being a nurse for 50 years, I never asked her because my mother was intimidating, and I never knew how to talk. One minute she would be sweet and nice and kind, and the next minute she was mean. So I didn't get into the paranormal about her. And she also resented my reading. When I was in junior high school, they called me, and I've told people this, so I don't care at this point, Mr. Peabody. I was always carrying books that weren't school books with me. And I always read, and I had other students ask me questions about history and other things. I knew a lot of stuff, even then. But she resented, she would bitch that I would come over on Bart with a book. And I said, what do you want me to do for 40 minutes each way? Stare at the other people? I'm not going to sit there and be bored. And but she subscribed to astrology magazines and would call me up. What's in the thing in the Bay Guardian, or this? What's the horoscope today? So I know she was into that part of it. And if you consider astrology the paranormal and not just bunk, I was amused that one of the local papers had Sidney Zolar's. I think that was his name. Astrology, except I think he's dead, so they must be still using his name. I know there had to be things that she saw as a nurse, but she never talked about it.
Right.
And which is a pity, because she told me stories about life in Tilsit, Lithuania when she grew up, but nothing paranormal. And it's one of those things, I got to know a lot of stuff. She has tapes she's done. I haven't sent them to my niece yet. And she did tapes talking about the family, and I haven't heard them, so I don't, and I wouldn't have any way to copy them. I don't have a tape recorder. So she did a bunch of cassette tapes. I've got to mail those off.
I see.
So, I don't know about anyone else. I've never talked to the rest of the family how they feel about the paranormal, except I do know that one member of my family does watch all my videos.
Oh, well, brother or sister? Do you have any siblings alive still, or?
I found out after my mother died from my sister, and I was absolutely blown away that my mother, counting my sister and I, had 13 children.
What?
Yeah. And all of them died except us. And
wow.
She told my sister that she considered it a vacation to have a baby. So it turns
13
out that,
children?
Well, it turns out I was watching Voyager the other night, and my mother used to eat wild wheat. And on the wild wheat will grow ergotine, and it induces contractions and premature labor, and that's maybe why the children died as a young woman. So she may have screwed her whole system up. I don't know. I just know they died. I know my brother died at 3 days of age. The one brother I know about.
George,
and
I don't mean to. I know there's probably a lot of other callers, but you know, when you had your near-death experience, when your father threw you in that boiling tub, did you have a lot of scars, or were you like in a burn unit for a long time?
Yeah, I was in Walter Reed Army Hospital for a year. They had to graft skin on me and all that. Of course, you know, being, 10 years old, I don't remember enough of just being in the weirdest thing about being in there, they had me in basically a giant kind of like crib thing with rail. That's why I hate to this day railings on a hospital bed. I always try to put them down. You might fall out of them. I feel like I'm trapped. But I spent a year in Walter Reed Hospital getting skin grafts and recovering from that. I was burned. I lost 80% of blood in my body, and saw me leave my body like I did when I was 5. And I knew
they saw you leave your body? Other people saw you leave your body?
Well, no, I didn't.
Oh, you okay?
And when you're 5 and 12, you don't really. I had a pet chicken die once, but you don't have a baby chicken. You don't have. I didn't kill it. You don't have any concept of death when you're a kid, except I had a friend die in front of me, literally, and I had a friend's sister abducted by a pedophile, and she was never found again. But
thank God.
I was in the bed and saw my body on the bed, saw the doctors and the nurses.
Oh, that must have been scary.
No, it didn't scare me. It was more like, this is kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
And saw the TV on with one of my favorite programs, Popeye and Knish, a local version of Kukla, Fran and Ollie, and saw this light in the upper left corner of the hospital room, and I went to the light. Now, John Lear says, go to the darkness. And this light was like having a searchlight or the brightest Klieg light, which is a super bright stage light you can imagine, in front of me. And I started heading toward the light, and something told me it's not my time. And I went back to my body. And people don't believe me when I said I was gone 3 days, but I've recently read stories where children were gone for almost that long. Your body can shut down and you're in a coma. And they can't find anything because you're so deep into the coma, they can't find a respiration or pulse, but you're still alive. You just aren't registering.
Wow.
And I came back. And the third time I convinced I died, but I'm not certain of it. I went out to water the back lawn of our house in Tacoma Park. It took me forever to find that picture on Google Earth of the house. And came down to our unfinished rec room in the basement, plugged the electric fan, and the next thing I knew, it was an hour later, and I was gone. I don't know where I was, but I flew about 50 feet across the room.
Wow.
And was lying there. So that was also the yard. One day I'm raking, and there's a copperhead. My dad went out and killed it, so that was kind of scary. But
okay, Venus, let's go ahead and keep you on the line because I'm really enjoying this conversation. But let's go ahead and bring another caller in really quick.
Oh, great!
And just get some Elizabeth. Feel free to stay on. Caller, state your name and your question or comment.
Hello, Lee Kingsmatch here. How are you doing?
I don't know if I want to take this with the last name there, so let's get rid of this person.
Okay, I couldn't hear what it was. Could you hear what they said?
Lee Kingsmatch doesn't sound right to me.
Oh. Well, it's like an accent. That's. I feel the same way about Jazz when I hear his accent, so I fully understand.
Well, yeah, but the word snatch has more connotations than a part in a disk drive, which is in my closet. I used to build disk drives, so.
Okay. I'm calling you actually Nagasaki, Japan, so konnichiwa to you.
Oh, konnichiwa. I know about 20 words. Hello.
I teach Japanese to Americans living in Japan.
Oh, that's cool.
If you have a moment, I'd love to teach you some simple Japanese phrases over the air.
Well, I don't think this is really I appreciate that. Drop me an email on my YouTube channel and we'll discuss it privately. But this is not something that I really... I like the idea, but I'd rather focus on the paranormal if you don't mind.
How would you like to learn to say, age is beauty in Japanese?
Learn to say what, please? I couldn't understand you.
Age is beauty?
Age is beauty. That's a little esoteric for me. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean.
Yeah, it sounds like you give a translation.
Things. You say, my little things. I'll break it down. My.
Yes, my.
Vida.
I'm not hearing you real well. I'm sorry. I think we have to end. I can't hear on my. So
yeah, caller, you might want to turn your pull your headset a little bit farther away from your head. It's kind of loud.
I can't understand a word he's whatever he's trying to say to me phonetically. I can't understand it.
Yeah.
Let's let it go on, please.
No problem. Okay, so we've got.
Not trying to be mean or anything, but if I can't understand it, there's no point in talking.
Yeah.
Have him contact me privately in an email, and we'll discuss it on Skype maybe or something. I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and.
To say internet radio rules.
Well, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. But I think they're saying that basically podcasting is the rules. It sounded like he was saying. But thank you, caller. I do agree you should take George up on that offer to connect with him through his YouTube channel. Let's take another caller here. Okay, caller. If you can state your name and your reason for calling.
Breastfeeding takes practice. And being comfortable and relaxed.
Wait, that's a... Hold on, that sounds like it's an Australian.
Now, research has proven that the same is true
Jazz,
when you're
is this your sister?
using a breast pump. If you feel comfortable and relaxed when expressing, your milk flows more easily, and you express more milk.
Okay.
Jazz, fess up. Was that your sister or aunt?
No, that sounded British to me. That wasn't Australian.
Okay, sorry, it's kind of hard to tell there. Okay, we've got... Excuse
and
me.
There's all those British expatriate escorts down there, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I had to let that one go because I wanted to hear if they said Jazz's name or something. So I let that go a little longer.
What is the fascination with breastfeeding? I know it's an attack on me, but that's another story.
Oh, really? See, I thought maybe it was a joke about me having a baby born in my family here recently. I thought they were picking on me.
No, I mentioned some things to the Circle of Distrust, and they published that too. See, everything I told them vocally, they published on Belgad.
Man.
And this is why I don't trust. I would trust Venus.
Yeah, unfortunately, she dropped from the call.
Justin, and I pretty much 90% trust YouTube, but I'm very reluctant to trust anybody on the internet unless I meet them in person. And other than George Norrie and Tom Danheiser, I've only met Paperboy from Belgab. So, you know, it's like the old Johnny Carson show of the 60s, whom do you trust? And in my case, who can I trust?
Right. Yeah, we've got another caller here. And if I recognize the info correctly, this is a caller I'm actually kind of excited to have join us. So State your name and your reason for calling.
Hello, boys. This is White Crow. Good evening.
Oh my God! Okay, let's kick him off here. No, just kidding.
I was ready to do it.
I couldn't resist.
I love White Crow, but I was going to hang up on him.
No, don't hang up on. Don't hang up on him. That was just a joke. That was a joke. Don't hang up on him.
So,
I hope you didn't really.
Thank you very much, Jazz and Curtis, for giving George a chance to shine and entertain us all. The real George Senda.
Yeah, no, this has been a really cool conversation, I think, tonight. I think everyone who's listened should realize that this is something they should want more often.
Except for the annoying people, I've enjoyed the hell out of it, and I've had people. You do this every week, every month. I think Jazz would drop dead of exhaustion. Same with Curtis. I could do this once a month or once a week. It'd be fun. But how you doing, by the way?
Well, I'm doing just fine. Life is good here in Wisconsin. I have no complaints. My glass is always running over.
You'd be awfully. I think your phone's going to get awfully wet, or your feet, or your floor. You might get electrocuted while we're on. Now, wouldn't that be saying? White Crow gets electrocuted live on podcast. The Tales at 11. You know. But anything you want to ask?
Topic, George, Curtis or Jazz, have you had any out-of-body experiences? George talked about his a little bit. I can talk about mine.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about yours, and then Jazz and I can follow up after that.
Okay.
I'm having one right now.
I called this into Heather one night, so excuse me to listeners that may have heard this before. When I was a child, very young, I used to float at about double rooftop level, and I could float in my backyard real slow, but I couldn't control where I was going, but I could look down and see what was going on. And the furthest I ever got away from my house was about a quarter of a mile. Now, being a very young child, I was kind of restrained to my our yard and my neighbors on both sides' yard. So later on, I remember floating and about a quarter mile away, and there was a burnt down house. This is a developing suburban area. It was a burnt down farmhouse. It had a bunch of old farm equipment and rusty Model T style cars in the yard, and I could see that when I was floating as a child. So as I got a little bit older and could explore a little bit more, sure enough, there it was, what I saw as a child floating out of body. So I've been kind of a believer on that part of paranormal since then.
Now, how were you instigating this? Was it conscious or unconscious, or in your sleep, or
no? It would
your
be
dream?
like in twilight sleep when you're in between being awake and when you're a kid, you kind of just laying there in bed and you're not really sleeping deeply. You're kind of conscious of what's going on around you. I can remember floating and trying to change the directions of where I wanted to go, but I didn't have any. I think I couldn't change where I could go, and I don't remember, what happened going in and out of body experiences.
That's really interesting. You didn't have any poltergeist going on, because the burned out farmhouse, frequently children cause fires. I'm not accusing you of that, mind you, but that's a curious thing or was it a really burnt out farmhouse that had really burned down?
No, it was burnt out. There was still the structure was there. An
actual real house.
We got to be teenagers. It was a place where we went to smoke and hang out and drink beers. It was burnt. The interior was like half burnt.
Okay, that's kind of interesting. I don't know. I've often wondered maybe people need they need an ethereal rudder to go in the direction they want. They have to consciously decide, I'm going to go here. I haven't had that problem. I've only done it once. I've levitated myself off the bed when I lived in Sacramento.
Oh my goodness.
I consciously levitated myself about 3-4 inches, and it wasn't a muscle spasm. I was completely off the bed. I've never been able to do it since. But I decided one night after listening to an episode of Art Bell to say, I wonder if I could levitate myself. And I did it once.
Wow.
And
that's pretty impressive. I could move pencils between my two hands. Put them on the edge of the table, so half of them was on the edge of the table, half of it was hanging over the edge of the table, and then put your hands on both sides of the pencil and make it move like it's pivoting on the edge of the table.
Well,
I do
that
that
may
for the
be
kids a lot when I was young, when my
that
kids
may
were
be
younger. But
partly, you got
I
metal in
blow
a
on the
pencil.
pencil.
You got metal in a pencil. That could be the magnetic field of your hands doing it rather than something paranormal.
No, it was a well-directed blow from my mouth that would move the pencil.
Your mouth?
Yeah,
or
my
mouse?
mouth. Right. I would make it look like I was moving it with the magnetic field between my hands.
Because there is some evidence that you put out, we have an aura and all that. You put out a magnetic field. We have a magnetic field around us.
Oh, yes, my mother was a psychic type person. She could read people's auras. Her name was actually Aura, and I always had a brown aura. She didn't like that about me too much. She always wanted to fix my aura.
Where do you go for that? Think about that.
Us.
It's not like a welding shop. You go to, my aura needs rejuvenation. How do you repair your or change your aura? That's you go get some kind of ethereal credits or something. That's a cure. I've never really seen anyone here that had to have their aura fixed before, and I've read about auras. The Russians did Karelian photography and stuff. That's most curious.
Well, she didn't have much success fixing mine. I was like a lifelong project for her to change the color of my aura to a more brightful one.
Makes you wonder what's going on subconsciously or inside of you. Your aura was brown. Most auras, unless there's a malevolent force, are a more happy color, but I don't know. That's something I need to investigate.
It was not a good color.
Find a way to inspect my own aura and see what it is,
Right.
It could mean
it should be like yellow and orange and blues and nice colored browns. It's just not a good color. What do you make brown from? No. You mix red and blue? Is that brown?
Purple.
Look at me. I remember doing that in kindergarten, and I was terrible at it. I couldn't paint or sculpt, except for I always wound up with ashtrays. I did build tool carriers in shop, but that was as best I ever did. I was more into models and stuff.
Oh yeah, I was big into model cars. Used to make really nice ones.
I did model cars too: cars, trucks, tanks, planes, ships.
I was more of a model.
You had a long start. Those are hard to find. Those AMC models we used to build in the store.
Oh, they're out there. They're out
glue
there.
You could get eye from. Sniff the glue a little bit. Maybe that's why I got a brown aura. I was sniffing too much glue.
I think the new Revell or Renwall, they've come out with refurbished editions of the old models in the 60s. Someone's done all the classic Universal monsters now, for instance.
Right.
Yeah, but they're bloody expensive, too. They have to pay the rights, I guess, or something. The old AMC models, I made a lot of those, too.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of fun painting them up.
There's a store here in town, and it's on the list of if I had the money. He's got about 50. They're not toy models. These are the ones you see in the military aircraft magazines of P-47s, B-24s. They're scale models, but they look like the real thing. They're on stands or they're standing alone. He's got about 50 of those in the window. And except the problem is, if I were to get them, where the hell am I going to put them? I got no room in here now as it is. But that would be really cool.
Hello.
So, Joe, we got a caller.
What is that? Where did that come from?
Hello.
So, hello.
Not me. Neither on your end. We've got a out of body call here.
There's a ghost in the machine. It sounds like it's not me.
That's
so, George, you ever? I don't want to get anything personal and just tell me to be quiet. But you ever think about doing an eBay auction with some of the collectibles you must have in your house, in your apartment?
Look, I don't know why. I'm not attacking. I'm not going after you, but I don't know why everybody is so damn obsessed with my selling my possessions.
I'm not coming after you.
No. I'm not just talking to you. I had Paperboy come in, worry up to me. Why don't you? Can I speak, White Crow? Why don't you sell your stuff if you need money? I got these things over a number of years.
I'm not going there at all.
Some of them are important to me, and some of them are reference materials, but why would I sell something I went out and acquired that I like?
Okay, that's in the question. I just thought it would be cool to not to raise money or anything, just to have, if you have excess things that you don't use anymore, to
look. I've got stuff in here.
Which y'all have. You must have some really cool stuff.
I can't find, and I've got my DVD player. I don't know where I put it. It's in a drawer somewhere. I got stuff I can't find. I have books I should get rid of because they're not paranormal books. Fiction, I need to call the shelves, but I'm not going to get rid of stuff I've got.
Fine.
My goal one day is to have a big enough place where all my stuff is frankly out of sight, except for my video studio, where I don't have to people care bitch about. You've got. I had somebody write me a thing. Nice DVD collection. How long have you been hoarding DVDs? I have DVDs and Blu-rays for one big reason. I don't like downloading movies because if the power goes out, I can't watch it. And if your hard drive screws up, I can't watch a movie. I can take my Blu-ray player and watch anything I've got whenever I want to. I don't have to rely on Apple or YouTube or Amazon, buy Amazon's movies or somebody else. I can watch whatever I've got, paranormal videos, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., or old TV shows or old movies when I want to. And it doesn't cost anything once I bought it.
I used to race bicycles. I have quite a collection of expensive bicycles, but I'd have a hard time parting with them. I'll never ride them again, but...
Well, that's...
I understand what you're saying.
I watch American Pickers, and these guys have motorcycles, and it's like classic stuff. And I'm not, but some of them are cool. But they've got stuff like the whole damn building is full of motorcycle parts. I don't, and not doing anything other than collecting dust. I don't entirely understand that, but each his own. You know, if you want to collect bicycles, motorcycles, whatever, fine. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I don't have the right. The only time it gets dangerous is...
No, I wasn't telling you what to do. I was saying if you had some cool stuff, I'd like to maybe bid on it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't... most of this stuff is... If you took all the books out of here, I have toys and props for videos and stuffed animals. So it wouldn't be that thrilling to most people. A lot of it is I saw this I have a little penguin. He's hanging above my bathroom door. He's dressed in a Christmas hat with a red bow tie. That's personal to me, but who would want that? I don't know.
Sure.
All right, I think we'll leave this Craigslist segment right there. Thank you, White Crow, for calling. We've got a couple more callers on the
very
line.
good.
Sorry about that.
Nice talking to you guys, and appreciate your efforts again. Peace
Thanks,
to all.
Crow.
Good night.
Peace to you too.
Yes, thank you.
Peace, brother White Crow.
Let's take another caller. Caller,
Yes.
state your name and your reason for calling.
I'm Big D, and I'd like to ask a question for George.
Here, go ahead.
Hey, George, why do you hate Heather Waite so much for? I see all your videos that you hate her, and she's into paranormal just like you are.
Okay, first of all, on a purely, I can't think of the word, maybe a loss for words is unusual. I'm not going to use the word professional, but I've heard her shows, and I do not think they're very good. Now, the other thing, I had all that stuff about Heather Wade being the secret plotter, and she stole all of Art Bell's money, and she's paying people to sabotage my quote-unquote career, such as it is. I don't know anything. All I know is the one time, may I finish speaking, please? The one time I talked to her and tried to compliment her, she didn't want that going out in the air, and I didn't feel that. I wasn't very happy about that. But I've also had people told me that, frankly, and not just the Circle of Distrust, but other people, that she's terrible. And also, she was very incredibly rude to me when I was on the Gabcast, and that's the other reason I don't care for the woman. If she wants to do her podcast on what's left of the Dark Matter radio network, fine, but I'm not going to listen to it. And that's not it.
She's number 38 on the top streaming shows on the internet.
That means there's 37 people that are more popular than she is. So, I'd rather listen to Jim Mallard or one of the other, umpty-ump podcasts out there. And there are some horrible paranormal podcasters. I've listened to their shows, and it's like
Have you listened to the Bell Files?
What?
George, listen to the Bell Files, our podcast, the Jazz and I do. If you want
I
to talk
haven't
about
listened to the Bell Files. Okay, there's a reason I didn't, other than calling Jazz at one point the evil Jazzmunda.
Duly deserved.
Yes.
I was so aggravated by the thought of anything Sewergab that I wouldn't listen to anything associated with Belgab. And one day I'll break down and go in there and listen to your shows and see if they're anything like what we're doing tonight. I regret that we didn't record the call we had a week ago. That would have been a great show in and of itself, just us chatting.
True.
So, but I've heard some really, really, they're so bad it makes me cringe. Right. Even the opening of some of these shows, they're terrible. And I go, who decided that these guys could? I'm not talking about the paranormal, just as podcasters. It's like two guys, it's like Mickey Rooney and Judy, let's do a paranormal podcast. Oh boy. And I'm going like, these guys suck,
Right. Let's we've got a build up of callers here still, and I want to wrap up here.
George, you could be on that list of top streaming shows next week after tonight.
Well, that's whatever the fates will allow. It's not up to me. I'm willing. I'm not going to do this 7 days a week. I can't sit in this chair for too long. It kills my back. But tonight is different. I'm in here, but I'm more than willing if I can get rid of the flakiness and the weirdness and the people who want to be disruptive or make themselves be heard because they're being childish. But this is fun. I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go to our next caller. Caller, what's your name?
Yes, this is Marcus Sinclair. And I'm fucking Kathy with my very sizable gentleman sausage.
Okay.
Like a woman possessed.
Sorry. What was that? Was that like AI or something that called our show?
I don't know. There is a somebody Sinclair on the internet or on one of the TV networks. It sounds like that, but
oh really? I was like, what in the world was that I heard?
There is a somebody Sinclair. I've heard him, but that this is another stupid thing to do. It's like, okay, we've heard you. You've put out something smutty to show how your total lack of intelligence.
When is the last time your equipment
the same? It's like AI has taken over. Our next caller was the same algorithm.
How do they do this? How do they manage this? Are they?
Well, no, I just picked the next call up, and it was the same person who just was.
I don't know how they're calling on multiple lines like this unless they're redialing things.
Yeah, I think there's redialing.
Programs you can ask your caller ID and put something else on. So
yeah. Okay, let's. We're going to.
I will never understand doing this for the sake of doing it. It's like, what's the point? All it does is disrupt the flow of the show.
Right.
I'm not angry about it. I'm disappointed. It's move on. People grow up.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah, let's take.
No, I don't care. At this point, except when I get some really, you still beat Kathy, which I've never done, except we get in the car. I would say something. She'd get mad. She'd get me. I defend myself. And times we play it, we're doing like Stan and Ollie or something. But I don't hit my girlfriend. I was beaten as a child. The idea of beating someone makes me sick to my stomach, literally. And I have enough problem with my ulcer and acid reflux. I don't beat my girlfriend. But that's like the old. There was a old comedy album. I think it was Von Meter, and they asked Hugh Rumford, "Do you still beat your wife? How do you disprove that?" I love Kathy, and there are times where, and that's all started from the video I did in Napa, and she said, "Don't hit me," and I wasn't hitting her. I wanted to strangle her because she wouldn't shut up for an hour, and she nagged the crap out of me. And when on the way back, I stopped the car and said, "This ends now. I can't take it anymore. You've been treating me like crap, and I'm not going to put up with it." She wanted to go to, Marine World, and she didn't want to go to Napa, and she's never been supportive of my videos, and makes comments about them and all that. And
I think it's fine for us to stick. That's a topic that's fine. We can. Yeah, I think you've definitely.
But I don't understand this obsession with my girlfriend and to try to embarrass me. It doesn't embarrass me, more of just grow up.
Yeah, well, let's move on to our next caller. Let's see if we can get a good paranormal story or comment here.
I beat up Kathy's cervix night after night.
Say that again.
Here we go.
Was that same?
That's the same clown.
All right. Well,
I beat up Kathy's cervix.
We'll drop that one. I don't know what the next thing was there. So okay, let's go to our next call.
How you doing?
What's going on? What's your name? And do you have any comments or questions for Mr. Senda?
Did you vote?
Yes.
Have you ever been aroused sexually by the touch of another man?
What?
No.
Have you ever had
Move on, please.
Are you turned on by your balls?
All right, we'll drop that. Okay, I don't know what happened there. That sounded like it was going to be a good political call, and then all of a sudden it became the wrong.
No, it's the way again. I constantly can't remember this technique. They start out as if it's going to be a call, and then it turns into an attack, disruptive call, and I really resent this because it's also screwing you guys up. And,
we've had
this could be a really.
This has been a good show, and we've gone through a whole lot of different topics. So I agree. It's it doesn't need to be a troll fest.
It's like putting out those I forget what they're called. Those strips they put down to stop the stolen car guy, and with the spikes. And this kind of calls a spike. It flat tires the show, and that's not the right analogy to use, but it's like
Let's go to another call here and see if this one maybe can up the ante in terms of a good conversation. So, caller, you're on the air.
I hope so.
State your name and your purpose for calling.
Hello, George.
Yes.
Hello. This is your friend Grub.
Wait, this is the Grub?
I would prefer not to talk to the woman.
Why, George?
Please hang up on her. She has attacked me repeatedly on Belgab. I do not want to have her on.
Never. I've never attacked you, George.
Please drop the call.
Never.
All right,
Please drop the call. Thank you.
I've always been your number one.
No, you have not. Drop this call, please. In fact, more than Flushing, we need a whole Roto-Rooter truck for that.
So that would be our first blocking of the night? Is that what you're saying? Because I
permanently.
All right. So okay, I think we're going to wrap up. I'm going to do one last round of. Let's just take people on the phone, let them say something. If they make a fool of themselves, they make a fool of themselves. If not, they can help us end this show in a good way. We'll go to our first one. Be prepared to be dumped if you go off the deep end, though. Here we go. Lightning round. Caller, you're on the air. What do you have to say? Hurry.
Hello, George.
Yes.
How you doing tonight, George?
Well, when it's a decent call, just fine. When otherwise, it's annoying. Well, how can I help you?
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned you were burned as a child. Is that correct?
Yes.
I also was burned as a child, George, and I have scars to prove it. I'd be interested in seeing your scars, George. Can you do a video and show us your scars?
Don't have any. My mother did things that I don't remember to facilitate things. They also put dressings on me.
Do you still have scars, sir? Because I have scars as an adult, and I was burned as a child. Not as bad as you claim. Do you have scars, sir?
It's not a matter of claiming, sir. I distinctly remember being in that hospital for a year.
Do you have physical scars, burned scars to show on video, sir, with all due respect?
First of all, I'm not going to show portions of my anatomy.
Then shut the fuck up, George.
Lightning round. Go on to our next caller. Caller, you are live on the air. You have a short amount of time to say what you have to say. Do it.
Okay. George.
This sounds like the same guy. Let's go to another call.
George.
I don't think it is.
George. Tourette's, is that a paranormal thing? Because I'm fucked if I know.
Let's go to another call.
Yeah, I agree. I think they said something about Tourette's.
Let's go to another call. I know what Tourette's syndrome is. It has very little to do with paranormal. I've known people with Tourette's.
All right.
It's sad.
This is our last call. Let's make it good.
Hey, George. Hey, this is Billy Joe Mulgreevy again. Hey, man, that wasn't right what you did to Brig. She has been nothing but supportive of you over the past several months.
Well, that's not what I understand, and I have seen some of her videos. She copies my style. I don't care if the woman. I prefer not to talk to her.
Well, I think that's more of like an homage or a homage or however you want to put it. But she has been nothing but supportive. She's been, she's been kind of pulling all of us guys by the ear and stuff when we get out of line where you're concerned.
When I had my Falkenberg,
particularly after you broke up with Kathy,
said very negative things about me.
Man.
Okay, so I would prefer not to ever talk to that woman.
Okay, well, I don't think the whole world understands that because she's been supportive of you.
Well, not when I had Falkenberg's Fortress. She turned into a major troll.
I don't know, George. I was in Falkenberg's Fortress at that time. That's not how I saw it.
Well, that's how I saw it.
I think
she went over to the dark side and attacked me mercilessly in the Falky thread. So I have to read this stuff. Yeah, and it soured me on her.
Well, like I said, George, we're always busting each other's balls a little bit on there, man.
All right, Billy, Billy, I'm not going to discuss
she's been nothing but supportive of you. Nothing but supportive.
Well,
over the past several months, so you should, down the road, if you're going to be, taking calls, you're going to be doing the show with Jazz and the King. You really ought to take her call seriously because she really does have some nice things to say about and
I've stated my case. I've stated my position. All right. Let's move on to some other subject or end the show because I will not talk to that woman under any circumstance.
Well, I guess that's your prerogative, but I just wanted to chime in and just say, you're absolutely wrong about it. But it's
that's
ball's in
your
your court,
opinion,
brother.
that's
Ball's
your
in your
feeling,
court.
but I will talk to people I care to talk to, and I do have that choice as a person and a human being and someone on the show. She was negative toward me. She said things in the Falky thread that were terrible about me, and in the Chef's thread, and in the Mr. Spock fishing thread, or whatever the hell it was called. I don't want to talk to her, period.
All right, man, that's up to you. Like I said, I
All
think you're wrong. I think you're wrong-minded
Well,
about it.
you've repeated yourself.
But I don't want
I
to
know
take
you
any
feel
further.
it,
So,
but I'm repeating myself now, and I really don't know how to do that. Let's end this, please.
all right, brother. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, I say we ended on that call. That was a good, respectful call of trying to say they had a different opinion, and of course, not every time.
I don't deep down on nothing personal about her, but she went into that forum that I was running under what I consider false pretenses and said some very rude things about me. So I don't know where he gets this idea that she's always been supportive of me. You got to remember, I got sent dozens, if not hundreds, of emails. Did you hear about what X said about you in this thread or that? Was the point, or I just started erasing them. I wasn't even reading them anymore. They so irritated me. So,
well, I'd say that tonight's been a pretty good success. I mean, yeah, we had some trolls, but they kept they gave us something to work against. Every good show has to have antagonists to be interesting, right?
The one that amused me is the smarmy Sinclair. The accent amused me.
I wasn't sure what was going on there, man. I was like, what?
Hello, this is, it's kind of like having a call. Who's that guy? Who's that guy from the Rich and Famous? Whose name
Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about but
Robin Leach. Robin Leach, yeah, and you don't know about lactation. The rich and famous like lactation, and they spend thousands of dollars.
Yeah, nice. I think we can do a whole
particularly
show of
Australians, they are particularly fond of that. They pour it into a used Foster's can and drink it in the can too, But I'm going like, hello, what the hell was that?
Well, as we wrap up, Jazz, do you have anything you want to say before we end?
No, I think everything has been said tonight.
Okay, perfect. Well,
you could forget the paranormal. You could do a whole show on strange phone calls.
That's true.
That you get and play snippets of the really weird calls you get, or stuff that comes over the I don't know if wires are the right word, but stuff that comes that are glitches that you can't explain. But by the way, have you ever had a real quick paranormal calls that come in that aren't from the person?
You mean like the call itself is truly paranormal?
Yeah.
No, well, we had a call that sounded like it was JC one time, but it wasn't him, I don't believe. Jazz, is that you? Because it's like cutting out a bunch.
Okay.
I'm thinking actually like something that sounds like an EVP or a haunted call or something like that.
Yeah, no, only weird things to where I think it was pretty safe to say it was a technology glitch over paranormal, but I would love to take that call. That would be awesome.
Yeah. I have to ask George if he ever done anything like that either, because Art got some weird stuff that sounded really spooky.
Yeah.
Well, all right, this has been great. I've been asked one quick question. People are asking, will they be able to download this show?
Yes, we need to talk about that production element probably after this, because I think there's a couple different paths we can go down. I can post it on the Bell Files website. We could put it not necessarily as an episode of the Bell Files, but keep it as the George Senda show, but a separate.
And I want to say formally, I was very in the back of my brain or my heart or whatever, hesitant to do this because I had this fear of it's going to turn to Troll Fest 2017, and it did to an extent, but there were some really good calls, and I enjoyed the hell out of me, out of it, not of me.
Oh, no, I enjoyed the hell out of you on the show, so I'll say that for you. Yes, I agree. I think it would be really good for us to do that. One thing I do want to implore everyone who listens to this, whether it was live or on the download after the fact, be sure to let George know by subscribing to his YouTube channel that you're a fan of it. If you want to donate, which also helps push things along for making it possible for him to put the time into this, because it is a lot of effort and time that it takes to sit down and host a show like this. So if you want to donate, tell me if I'm wrong, George, but it's falky2013@gmail.com is where they can send money and PayPal to. Is that correct? Okay, perfect.
And by the way, if I had a vehicle one day, which I will have in 2 years or so, I would be going out to paranormal locations in Northern and Central California, be doing videos from the spot. That's one of my big goals. And I have the books, but I want to go to the real places.
Right.
And not having my license in a car, that's one reason I want my own car. I wouldn't have to hear Kathy complain about, why are you doing this stupid video?
Right.
There are haunted places in Contra Costa County I could go to right now, but doing it on the bus don't cut it.
Yeah. So yes. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks to all of our callers. I think we had record number of callers tonight, and we will be on the lookout for more of this. Like I said, follow George's YouTube channel. That's probably the best place to get information for when the next show will be out there. Thank you, George. Thank you, Jazz. It was a fun night.
Thank you, Curtis and Jazz Monday, for the opportunity. I really appreciate it, and I had a lot of fun.
No problem. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye for now.